Yeah.
Hello, everybody, wherever you are in the world today, and welcome to another cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome my British sister here, Anna Fisher. Anna, well, we're very local, actually. Anna's from Norwich and I'm from Ipswich. So we're going to be slipping into those accents, I think, when we're chatting to each other.
Do you know what, Kelly? I didn't know you were in Ipswich. You're literally down the road.
Well, I'm in Germany, but I come from Ipswich.
Oh, you come? I was going to say, apologies, because then
That's all good. That's all good. Anyway, that's a bit of background knowledge between ourselves. And I would like to introduce Anna to everybody here today because Anna is an energy healer and an intuitive guide. She's the owner of a business called Something Kind and Wonderful, which is a transformational healing and space inspiring you to rediscover the magic of who you truly are. Anna uses a variety of clearings and energy healing techniques, which she has learned, experienced, and created over 25 years, and which are forever evolving. She combines these alongside intuitive guidance within her sessions to help shift, release, and heal any old programming, patterns, energies, limiting beliefs, and traumas, anything which has been getting in the way of you creating a life that you love and showing up as your true, beautiful self. So welcome, Anna. Welcome to our cup of self-empowerment today.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Thank you. So how did you start to trust thyself, Anna, on your journey?
Well, I had quite a difficult background, if I'm truthful. I was always kind of searching to fix rather than heal. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but I was always trying to fix myself so that I was okay, but I didn't really go within. So when I started my journey, without going into too much kind of detail, I had a card reading with somebody, and they suggested that I read The Prospering Power of Love by Catherine Ponder. And at that point in my life, I was at a really low kind of ebb. You know, it was just like, oh, really, come on, someone help me out here, because I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, or anything. So got this book, and that was where I kind of started my journey. It was an introduction to the angels. It was reconnecting to kind of upstairs, to God, to the universe, however you want to call that. And I lived in this tiny little bedsit at the time, and every single morning I would sit there and I would write affirmations from this book. Okay. And I was in my early 20s at the time, and I was working in corporate, and I just made that commitment to myself to do it. I didn't really know where I was going with it. I just did it. I thought, I can't really, lose anything here. I'm just going to keep doing this. And as I did it, things started to change. I met my husband, and who I've been married for 22 years. So, and I always thought I'd be, the spinster that would live on my own. No one would love me. That's the kind of background that I had. There was a lot of kind of, self-abuse and what have you that went on. So the past was, it was a real stepping stone to jump into something so much more, much greater. So that was the starting point really for me. And then as I started to see things change in my personal life, I became a lot more involved with energy healing. I just started to do healing.
Okay, so that basically leads me on to my next question. How did you actually start to heal thyself? So, you went that trusting with the affirmations, and then, tell us about your energy healing.
I started doing energy healing. It was in about my 20s, and I used to go on development circles and everything as well. So it all kind of worked in together. And again, I started to trust because I was seeing results. It was literally hands-on. I'd learned my first modality was magnified healing, which I don't hear many people talk about.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
No, it's kind of based around Kuan Yin and the energies that she brought in. It's a really, really beautiful.
Sounds very gentle as well.
It really was. And I did that with people, but I was very relaxed. I wasn't fully kind of, this is what I do. It was just, a bit of a party trick now and again. And when people, I see friends, I would put my hands up, something would happen, things would change.
Okay.
And I started to kind of think, oh, there is something with this. There really is. I mean, I'd always been intuitive as a little girl. I always believed in things, and, you know, there was something else that went on in life. But I closed myself down very, very much because everything felt so much. So as I did the healing, the different modalities, and like I said, I didn't really, you know, take it too seriously, but I was seeing results. And then what kind of happened as a result was doing, you know, I still wasn't really going within to heal. It was still very external. It's still really, you know, going heart centered.
There was still that bit of, you know.
There was. And I'd always been quite blessed with having, you know, angelics around. I didn't really know that, but there was, you know, there was times in my life when it was like, crikey, how did that not happen? There must have been something intervening, that kind of help me, guide me, support me. So it was always in the background, but I hadn't fully embraced it. And then what happened, my husband and I and my son moved, we relocated, and I started having homeopathy. And what happened was a lot of the other healings that I started to receive really brought everything to the surface. The things that I'd been holding on to, what I hadn't want to look at, what I didn't want to address.
Well, we'd stuff down. We stuff it down.
It's like, no, I can't look at it. And, you know, as a kiddie, that was my kind of, you know, I didn't know how to deal with what I was aware of and how I felt and other people's feelings. So I closed it down. So through my own kind of journey, that started to bring that to the surface for me. And it became really difficult to not address it. So, and I had high anxiety. It was like to the point where I didn't even want to go out. It was very, very high. And as a kiddie, my mum suffered, you know, it was in my family. There was a lot of anxiety. So I went and I was like, right, show me, please. I need help. I can't do this on my own to kind of get to this next stage that I need to go to really get deep. And I went on the internet, Googled, and I came across a lady called Hayley, and she did something called emotional detox therapy. So I'd always been interested in alternative methods. I didn't kind of do a doctor route. That was just my preference. And that's when the true healing really began. And that's when, you know, another book, really influential book for me was You Can Heal Your Life, Louise Hay. That was a life changer for me. And that kind of came in the mix throughout all of this, because I had to start looking at, rather than fixing, I've got to go within and start self-loving and, you know, doing those parts. And that was the part I was scared to do on my own. So I got support. And through that support, I learned so much. I learned, you know, a wealth of information. I learned, obviously, about myself, the things that I put away. I learned, you know, how to do it. And I really invested in myself. I really kind of thought, no, I really need to.
I think we have to sometimes. We always hold back and think, oh, yeah, but, you know, we are worth that. And we want to actually unpack that, because that's what's holding us back from shining our brilliance, basically. And for us being authentically who we need to be and how to heal the stuff which we've really stuffed down. And, you know, definitely our generation, you know, we didn't speak about these things. Our parents didn't, you know, the everyday parent didn't usually bring these things to the table. You know, it's like, if you said it, it'd be like, don't say that, you know. I think you're a bit off, you know. So
that was all that I was told. Oh, don't be silly. So I, you know, and I used to feel energy. I used to feel
that must have been really overwhelming if you couldn't even express what you were feeling and share that with anybody.
And I didn't know how to deal with it. So I'd had all of this stuff that I'd pushed down, and, you know, self-love wasn't high on the agenda either. So it was when
we all can put our hands up and say, been there.
And it's fundamental to our healing. You know, it's the root of everything. And having my own sessions, exploring myself gave me that. I mean, it was amazing. You know, anyone who suffers highly with anxiety or anything that's really, you know, restrictive, I definitely recommend getting some regular support with that. Because it just helps to keep you empowered and on track, and
keeps you accountable as well, and gives you that helping. It keeps you accountable, and it also gives you that helping hand. You know, someone understands you, someone's actually seeing you and acknowledging and accepting you for exactly who you are, and they're not judging you. Because we tend to go straight into that
absolutely.
judging moment, like, oh my God, why can't I cope with this? Why am I feeling like this? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
There never is. And it's all those old self-beliefs. It's what, you know, it's patterning. It's, you know, from parents, what they've learned, what you then, and yeah, the suppression of emotions. I mean, you've got to feel to heal. And, you know, it was just such a brilliant modality. It was, you know, my own personal therapy that encompassed everything that I believe to be true, which was the mind-body link, having to release the emotions, getting into cellular memory to really get out that, you know, that the bottom core of things, of where we've held on to all the energy really, and all the stuck emotions, and also to learn to move forward with practical skills in learning how to change your behavior, you know, because we can heal, but if we don't know any different how to go forward, we recreate the past. So that was, I learned so much, and that's what has kind of come through a lot with me into my own kind of work and practice.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful, because it's also very inspiring for everyone who's watching to see, you know, it's a journey what we can all take. And, you know, every step what you've said you take, the, you know, the book tips that you've given and the little insights into how you dealt with it, that could actually be could be really the invitation that someone else is needing to say, okay, I don't have to go like really, really wild with this yet. I can just start dabbling with it a little bit, start tapping the surface and see, and letting it unpack itself.
Absolutely. And we're all so different. We all, you know, for me, I had a lot.
Yeah, a lot of us have a lot. Yeah.
So it was like, you know, we're all different, don't ever compare, but you know, we have our own unique individual journeys, and it's so important to really honor that, be kind to yourself throughout it, you know. And it's still ongoing. I used to think, am I nearly there yet?
I know. That leads me to my next question about, you know, how do you feel that you're standing, which you're standing tall in it, and you know it's a journey which always continues, but you're now standing in your tall, standing tall, being thyself, being unapologetically you. So, you know, how did you make that step to say, okay, this is who I am, this is me, you know, like it or lump it kind of thing, this is how I am, how I'm doing, how I'm living my life kind of thing, and I'm not worried about what other people are thinking of me?
Well, if I'm honest, I'm still doing that. Okay,
yeah, we all are.
Still showing up and still kind of unraveling, but I think it's when I became aware of when I was doing it or not being me. I didn't know I wasn't being me. I just thought, well, this is it.
Yeah,
you know, until someone kind of provides that kind space for you to kind of show you actually that isn't who you are. There's something way, way greater. You know, you aren't your limitations, you're not your worries, you're not your stress, you're not your, you know, thoughts if they're detrimental, you know, you're not any of that. There's something way, way greater. So when I started to recognize that, and I had to practice, I guess. It's like practice stepping up, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Exactly. The fear can be really like overwhelming and really wants to make you retreat. But at the end of the day, I always feel when that fear is there, it's kicking me to, you know, because it's like the next level is coming. I'm unpacking something else. And come on. It's like, take the jump. You can do it. You can do it. And it's just, it's like trusting yourself that you have that courage to do it.
Absolutely. And really having your back and be willing to get it wrong.
Yeah, and laugh at yourself if you get it wrong. It's fine. Take it with humor.
Because a lot of the reason we don't do things is because we're so worried what other people think. If we get it wrong, if we don't get it right, what do
we'll judge ourselves, and then
judgment. You know, it flows through everything where we stop ourselves. So it's important to just self-talk back when it comes in, because it does. And you know, it's like, no, I'm not having that today. I'm really going to be really kind to myself and love myself and see this and get excited about this new, you know, see, because they say, don't they, that excitement and, you know, anxiety, very similar energies. They, you know, so And do
it's trying to shift that gauge from that side to that side, basically. It's like, okay, I'm sensing I'm going inside direction of anxiety, or, you know, I'm getting to that direction where I'm really starting to put myself down or whatever. And it's like, okay, acknowledgement. And the acknowledgement is always the first step of like shifting it. So even if you're just acknowledging it and you think, well, I'm not shifting it enough, you've made that first step by acknowledging that. And that step alone is just huge, I feel personally.
No, I completely agree with you, Kelly. And it's that awareness of knowing of why, you know, oh, why do I suddenly feel like this? Oh, I've just told myself this. Oh, okay, well, that's not true. You know, and really self-talking and being so present with yourself in that moment, like you said, to acknowledge it, and then be able to get back on track quite quickly by reinforcing, you know, that self-love, positive.
And the more you acknowledge it, I find for myself, when I talk about myself personally, the more I acknowledge it, the quicker I get at shifting it. Doesn't mean that I'm always that I'm, you know, we all fall back into that. Just catching yourself and like, okay, how can I spin this around? And some days it does take longer than others. You know, we're still human. We're still here having this experience. We're still in our earth school. We're still discovering stuff about ourselves which we don't even know because we're just so complex.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing is, the more we kind of delayer and release and let go of the kind of limitations or whatever it is that's been in our way of us really showing up as ourselves, you know, the more magic we really become, you know, become available to us, you know, because there's so much within that is ready to come without. And it's once you start to recognize and remember that is who you are, it becomes easier to change it. Definitely.
Beautiful. So, you know, in a nutshell, what would you suggest to our viewers? You know, what advice would you like to give them if they're on a journey to trying to master thyself, you know, really starting out there and wanting to become that version of themselves, what they're here to be?
I would support 100%, find some really great people to have around you when you're starting on your journey. Find people who are there to empower and uplift you and hold safe space for you too. So it's kind of being there for when you're going through a funny time, you know, or a difficult time, and be supportive and kind, but at the same time still keep pushing you and moving you forward. I think that's really important. What else? Invest in yourself. Really self-invest in whatever it takes, even if it's a book, you know, borrow it. If you haven't got the money at the moment, borrow it. You know, courses, what you're drawn to, trust your gut and keep following that. Follow your knowing, what else, and ask questions. The universe listens. It's like, you know, universe, show me something. Universe, show me. I mean, I go cold when I talk to the, it just makes me feel so young. Like, universe,
show me. Effect.
You know, show me something that's going to create greater for me. Show me someone, guide me to, you know, where I need to go right now to get what I'm asking for. And
that leads you into trusting it. That's that embarkment onto trusting yourself, because then you're like, okay, I'm getting this feeling, I'm getting this nudge, I'm being called to this. Then trust it and do it and see how it all unfolds.
And listen to those whispers, like you say. It's like when those nudges come in, listen to them, follow them. If they feel, you'll know if they feel right for you. And you know what, even if there's that moment of doubt that there's something there, go for it anyway, because that's how you're going to continue to build your trust. Even if there's that element of doubt, keep going forward, move past it, and then that'll just add to your kind of vessel, if you like, of trusting yourself. It will all kind of, you know, work hand in hand with that. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. 100%. We're all on a different journey. Sometimes, you know, I've kind of thought before, why haven't I got there yet? Why am I not feeling like this? You know, and then you can go, you know, it can take you a few steps back, but don't do that. We're all unique. We all have something wonderful to give, and sometimes it can take a little bit more, or a little bit of a diversion here and there.
And sometimes we always, even if it's diversion, you're thinking, why? Guaranteed, even if it's an uncomfortable diversion, it's going to bring you something anyway. It's definitely going to bring you something, you know.
100%. And be willing to be uncomfortable, because the uncomfortable part is what's going to shift you so far. And it's being willing, it's kind of make it your friend. It's like, make being uncomfortable comfortable, and then you just keep moving and you keep growing.
Yeah, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies the whole
no,
time.
it's
No,
not.
it's I sometimes think it's skulls and daggers at times, because you're just like, oh my God, what's coming up?
I know. And yes, and it's, you know, feel your feelings. That's one of the main things as well, because it's something that I found very difficult. Had I have done that, it may have been easy for me, but obviously this is what I'm here to kind of, you know,
that's the message you're here to share with others and to empower others as well. So that's that, you know, also see as yourself as you're not walking your path for no reason.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
There's always some golden nuggets there.
Absolutely.
Which I like to think you're going to end up sharing to help other people, and everything that you do in taking that time to heal thyself, to taking that time to be present with yourself, is going to have a huge ripple effect on the people around you as well. So
100%, you know, and when you are around people like, you know, my personal family haven't been interested in doing the same journey as myself. So it's been
I think
difficult.
This goes for all of us, the same as me.
Not interested, but happy for me to kind of get on. And that can be tricky, because you know, you want them to kind of come with you, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they won't, and sometimes, you know, some people who are close to you, you know, don't like to see, you know, you progressing, only because it highlights where they haven't. So,
and that can be hard to digest.
Yes,
it definitely can be very hard to digest, because because you're feeling all the feels. It's kind of and you just have to let it go, as hard as it is.
Absolutely. And I think, just, you know, I'll try and be quick. I do talk quite a bit.
It's fine. We're fine.
Don't allow yourself to go down the rabbit hole. So if you feel really, don't stay down there too long. That's some advice I would give, because it takes longer then to get up again. Once you recognize that you're going in that little loop, or going down, and you're not asking for any help, ask for it. The time when you don't want to ask for help, ask for it. That's my personal experience and advice.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
You know, I couldn't ask. My whole thing has been asking for help, support, expressing myself.
I can relate to that.
When you don't feel you can do it, that's the moment you need to do it. And you are going to empower yourself by asking for the support that you need. That is empowering. A lot of people associate asking for help as weakness. Absolutely not.
It's strength, actually.
100%. And it will get you back on track quicker and back in your power, and getting on and creating a life that you want to live and love, you know, and enjoy the journey. Enjoy it. It's not, don't focus on wholly that. Bring balance into your life from other areas. Have fun. And enjoy it. And the other one, just very quickly, if you are, you know, a real empath, where you pick up from other people, which I know what that's like, get a really good practice in place to clean your space, keep your aura clear, grounding. You know, for those of us who are very, very aware, psychic, whatever you want to call that, it's important to keep your space clean, boundaries with that, because it will help to keep you on track. Otherwise, you can get easily distracted by the things that have nothing to do with you whatsoever.
That's just so perfectly put. Thank you so much. That's just wonderful. And there's so much golden knowledge and nuggets of information what you're sharing with us. Thank you. That means a lot to me, and I'm sure to everybody else who's watching. So how can people connect with you, Anna? How can people reach you best if they think, hey, I'm feeling the call and I feel that I resonate with Anna? So how can people reach out to you to work with you?
Well, I have got my Instagram page, Something Kind and Wonderful. Facebook, I've got a website, I keep saying it, somethingkindandwonderful.com. The www sounds really old school now.
It does, www.
I know.
It sounds like something on the BBC.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle of kind of updating and changing that at the moment, but I have got some things coming up.
Brilliant. Would you like to share them with us quickly, or are they to be announced?
No, not at all. I love working with teenagers, because for me as a teen, trying to fit in, didn't like that at all, and I closed myself down. So I love working with teens. It's something that I do, but I do it in person only for teenagers, because I like
fair enough. I understand that, because they do need that, you know, especially when it's possible that we can actually do it in person, especially with kids and teenagers. They've had to go through a hell of a lot. So
They have, and I just feel that, you know, that kind of support as they're letting go of certain clearings, emotions, energies, and what have you. So I love working with teens. I've got clearing sessions that I do online, and they're for people who really not necessarily going to go into a huge amount of healing. They're not looking at something specifically or any deep healing at that time, but it's just to get back on track, back in power, to clear the energy space out, follow the energy. We get in our own way so many times, and we're like, I don't know, you know, we can't see the wood for the trees. And so it's a space, you know, it's just an hour space where you get to let go of what's kind of, you know, what's going on for you in the moment. Clearing, balance the energy, have some healing and the intuitive guidance and advice that comes in at that time. So that's available, and I do more of an in-depth healing, which is all on my website too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure this is all listed on your website. So if anyone really wants to go deeper, you know, check out Anna's website or reach out to Anna directly. I'm sure she'd be absolutely delighted to support you and guide you on your journey too. And yeah, this has been so nice. This has been absolutely so lovely. And thank you so much for sharing all this wonderful, wonderful wisdom, your personal experience as well, because, you know, it's not always easy to talk about, you know, stuff we've had to deal with as well. So
absolutely. And it's weird, isn't it, because when you look back at what you have kind of, you know, gone through, it's like, crikey.
Exactly. Then you need to celebrate yourself and get your cheerleader going, saying, hey, look how far I've come. And they feel like I've got so much more ahead of me. But take a look back, look over that shoulder and see the extent that you have, you know, grown and developed and healed. It's an eye-opener at times. It really is.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've always been, even through my stuff, I've always known that anything is possible and everything is available to you. And, you know, healing to me isn't about there being something wrong with you. It's about returning you to your greatness, rediscovering that magic within so you can be all of you. You know, it's a journey, and I'm still on it, and I'm still working through it, and things pop up from time to time. And it's just being really kind to ourselves, and to reach out and have a really great group of people as well in your life to help with that too. I think that's
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Anna. It's been absolutely delightful, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you again very, very soon. And to everyone who's my pleasure. And to everyone who's watching, thank you for taking some self-time for self-love today, because, you know, this is also time for thyself to really, you know, acknowledge and, you know, have that cup of tea or cup of coffee and just take in what's going on around, because you're not alone. There's so many people out there who are walking similar paths, or who can really, really inspire you, empower you to be the person that you're meant to be. So until our next episode, take care, everybody, and goodbye.